Hi everybody, welcome to your daily meditation bootcamp video. My name is Jess and today we're going to do a meditation on Ganesha. Some people say Ganesha, Ganesh, it's kind of like potato, whether you pronounce the A. I myself will interchange them, so don't let that be a sticking point in your head if you can help it. This is going to be a slightly longer meditation, so I'm going to encourage you to create a very comfortable seat, a comfortable space that you can sit in for about 15 to 17 minutes. Once you've found your seat, take a big breath in, a slow breath out. Do that again, big breath in, slow breath out. Once more to arrive in this space, fill up, and let go of any outside thoughts or distractions. So we are going to approach this meditation a little bit different than maybe you've done in other days or other styles of meditation. I'm going to tell you a story. During this story, if anything bubbles up for you, feelings, emotions, sensations, try to just let them happen, breathe through it, and I will go ahead and give you the spoiler that this story does have a happy ending. So stay with the journey. You can keep your eyes open or closed during this time, totally up to you, whatever feels more comfortable. If you do need an anchor, a physical anchor during the story, since this is a story about Lord Ganesha, you might take on Ganesha Mudra. So you interlace your palms together, your fingers tucked in, thumbs extended, one goes up, one goes down, and I like to nestle it in close to the heart space. This is often an active mudra where you're pulling your fingers gently apart, shoulder blades are engaged, core is lightly engaged, or you could relax and soften it a little bit more. So if you want an anchor, this is a lovely mudra, or you can just keep your hands neutral in your lap. Take a deep breath in. Slow breath out. So Lord Ganesh is known for removing obstacles and creating more space in your life to create joy, to have joy, to experience joy. So I'm going to tell you his story today. And it starts with his parents, Shiva and Parvati. Shiva and Parvati were a very passionate couple. They're that classic couple that's very different and yet they balance each other out. However, they often had big conflict in their relationship. Shiva was a very private, personal person, and he liked to keep to himself. He would often spend lots and lots of time up meditating in the mountains, leaving Parvati at home in the village, which she's a very social person, so this usually worked for her. But when Shiva would go meditate in the mountains, it wasn't for 5 minutes or 20 minutes or even a day. He'd be gone for months at a time. And when he would come back, Parvati would say, my love, I love you so much, but I'm so lonely. I miss you when you're gone in the mountains meditating. And he said, you knew what you were getting into when you married me. And she's like, yes, I know, and I love you. And this conflict, this misunderstanding, this friction in their relationship reoccurred year after year after year. And one time after they'd had this story, Shiva was like, that's it, I don't want to have this conversation anymore. And he went storming off into the mountains as he often did, leaving Parvati at home in her house. And she found herself weeping and she was so sad. And as she wept, she remembered that she too was magical. She had inner power, inner divinity. So as she wept into her tears, she had a strand of hair that was Shiva's and a few other elements that were hers. And lo and behold, she created a little baby. And she named him Ganesha. And she loved her little baby. And he reminded her of all the best parts of Shiva. And over the next 18 years, Shiva never came back down from the mountain, but Parvati wasn't lonely because now she had her sweet baby who grew up into a beautiful, handsome young man who was devoted to his mother. Now, their life was not perfect. There was someone in the village whose name was Kubra who kept coming and bothering Parvati. She was polite to him and would say, you know, please, I'm not interested in spending time with you. I'm not interested in having dinner with you. I'm not interested in even conversing with you. Please leave me alone. He was very persistent. He wasn't someone who took no for an answer. So this was kind of a constant little worry in their world, but they dealt with it. And one day, Parvati said to Ganesha, you know, my dear, I really would just like some quiet time to take a luxurious bath. And he said, okay, mother, that sounds lovely. I'll stand outside your bathhouse and I will guard against Lord Kubra coming around and bothering you. And she said, oh, I love you so much, sweet darling son. Thank you. So she goes in and she's having the most wonderful, luxurious bath. And Ganesha's standing outside guarding the bathhouse. At that moment, Shiva finally comes down from his 18-year meditation up on the mountainside, and he approaches his wife's bathhouse to see this gorgeous, handsome male outside of his wife's bathhouse. Shiva had some jealousy issues that we haven't discussed yet, and they reared their ugly head in this moment, and without even asking any questions, he drew his sword from his belt and cut off Ganesha's head. Parvati in the bath hears the commotion, wraps herself in a towel and runs out and sees what has happened. Shiva standing there with his blade and Ganesh laid out on the ground. And she says, my love, what have you done? You've slain our son. And Shiva blinks as if he's coming out of a trance, and he looks down upon the body on the ground and he says, oh my gosh, you're right. How could I not have known? And he kind of flies into this, you know, fight or flight response, and he runs from the scene, just beating at himself. How could I have been so stupid? How could I have acted so rashly? What was I thinking? And he's running just kind of headfirst through the forest, and he runs across a hunter who had just slain an elephant. And Shiva, while he was running, he was praying to every god he could think of. Which is kind of fun because Shiva's a god too. So he's reaching out to all of his fellow gods and he's saying, what have I done? What have I done? What can I do? And this voice in his mind said, come across the first slain animal, take its head, and you'll be able to bring your son back to life. So Shiva's had this thought as he's running, and then he stumbles across this hunter who has just slain this elephant. And he says, please, please, can I take this elephant's head? I don't need the meat. I don't need the body. And, you know, the hunter says, oh, of course, Lord Shiva, anything for you. And Shiva throws him some compensation and then takes the head and runs back to where Parvati is in front of the bathhouse, cradling their son's body. And he attaches the elephant head to his son's body, and Ganesh rises back up. And I'd like to actually read you a passage from a book that tells the most beautiful version of this without me interpreting it. Parvati wondered if the head was too large. Shiva looked at his son with pride and joy, Vishnu with wonder, Brahma with awe at the sight before them. And there stood Ganesha, elephant-headed, majestic, powerful, absurd, comical, dramatic, lovable, worshipable, all rolled into one. And before their very eyes, Ganesha's girth swelled in proportion to his head, became the girth of a bountiful earth, containing the world in all its rotundity. So it's kind of a wild story. And Ganesh became a well-known god of his own. He's still worshipped by people all over the world. They place offerings before him for support in overcoming obstacles and for bringing more joy and love into their lives, because Ganesha is loved, and there's many other stories that I won't tell you in today's video where he goes out and just brings joy to everyone he experiences. So now that you've heard this story, come back into a quieter space of stillness. If you haven't yet and you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and a slow breath out, letting any outside distractions fade away. And use this quietness, this space, to reflect on any difficult situations, relationships, interactions that have perhaps created obstacles in your life. No need to fully ruminate or revisit those experiences. Just know there's probably been a time in your life that you have experienced an obstacle. And there probably will be a time in your life in the future that you experience another obstacle. Big breath in. Slow breath out. So as you find yourself clearing away those past experiences, those past obstacles, or facing another one in the future, know that you now have this story of Ganesh. You have your Ganesha Mudra as tools to overcome that obstacle. You have your meditation practice, your yoga practice as tools to overcome that obstacle. Most importantly, you have your own trust in yourself, your own inner power that you can overcome those obstacles. Stay here for a few more quiet breaths. Let anything that's stirred up in your body or your mind, let it start to settle. Easing into that inner trust. You can overcome any obstacle that arises in your life. Big breath in. Slow breath out. Bring your hands someplace meaningful, maybe into that Ganesh Mudra. Thank yourself for showing up, for being with what is during that story, and for knowing you can overcome any obstacle life throws your way. Thank you for sharing your meditation practice with me today. Have a wonderful day.